What's going on, everybody? Go ahead and stay tuned until the very end of the show for an important announcement and to clear up any confusion that may have happened during the show. Welcome to Woodshop 101. This is episode 138 for October 8th, 2018. On today's show, we're going to talk about WorkbenchCon. I am Jeremy Crawford of the Countryside Workshop, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Drew Short of Rockin' H Woodshop, Sam Wooddell of SamRyan Designs, and our guest host, the co-founder of such conferences as Haven and WorkbenchCon, Kristin Stockdale of Stockdale Designs. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey,
good.
So glad to finally get you on the podcast. I know we've been talking about this for a while.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So it's pretty exciting. I know the more that we start getting down this realm of more guests, it's like we've been planning to get people on for such a long time. It's great that they finally come. Yeah, kind of happen. So.
Definitely. And we'd like to thank our patrons, John Ramminger, Sean McHenry, Carl Mose, Neil Sims, Eric Rhoten, and Jeb Braswell. If you'd like to support the show, you can head over to woodshop101podcast.com/support. There will be links for small one-time donations and reoccurring donations. If you want to become a patron to our Patreon campaign, then head over to www.patreon.com/woodshop101. All of our patrons receive an after show twice a month as a benefit. So make sure you sign up because they're all really good. You can also support the show by heading to Woodshop 101 Podcast, or I messed that up, everyone.
Welcome back, Sam.
Welcome
There we are.
Sorry, everybody. You can support the show by buying a Woodshop 101 Podcast t-shirt, hoodie, or Rev Marker pack. Head to countrysideworkshop.com/shop for the link. There had to be one mess up.
Yes,
that's
Take
it.
two, Sam.
Hey, and I finally have all the new shirts and hoodies, or not hoodies, tank tops up on the website to purchase.
Nice.
So you can either go to the website and go to Jute Mode to buy them, or you can buy them directly from me. So. It's finally, Drew kind of hassled me last week because I hadn't done that, so I finally got them up.
Hey,
I was the only one with the links to buy them.
See how it worked. I got the ball rolling. I mean, you got it.
No.
That's right. Better together, right?
Yes.
Hey, that's it. That's it.
Perfect.
So, as you guys know, we have Kristin on here with us to talk about WorkbenchCon. We actually put questions out on our personal Instagrams, our Facebooks, just asking for some questions. So a lot of these we're going to kind of roll with it. There may be some questions that we have. There's some questions that were submitted. So I guess we can go ahead and start with just some of these questions because this is kind of our fast and loose show. So we have a question sent in. Kristin, will a group discount rate be offered for WorkbenchCon?
No, the early bird discount is the least expensive that we will have. We do have the hotel block, if that's what they're referring to. That is a lesser expensive hotel rate. But as far as the ticket rate, it's the $289 is the best price it will be.
Okay. Is it the hotel this year? I know last year, Sam and I went, and the hotel was, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes maybe from the venue. How close is the Amerismart from the hotel now?
The hotel. So it's exciting. It's probably 2 city blocks. Being in February, that could be a beautiful stroll as we had last year. But it's also connected through bridges. So covered insulated bridges go from each hotel. So it would be like you walk from the Hilton over the street to the Marriott, through the Marriott, and then over through another bridge. I can't think of which one. Anyway, into Amerismart, and then take the little escalator down to where we are. So it should be fairly easy, and we'll have signs, and especially the first day, we'll have lots of people around.
Yeah. So we get to pester all the other buildings that we got to walk through on our way to the show.
That's right.
All right. And then next year they're going to be like, we're not doing that again.
We're not doing this.
All these makers are loud, they're obnoxious.
Seriously.
Thank you. No, the Marriott was wonderful last year. They just did not have a large enough block for us. Atlanta's becoming quite the hot little spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah, it
No,
seems
it
like
was-
everything around the woodworking world has been revolving around Atlanta lately.
Yeah.
No, the Marriott was beautiful last year. And in
Yes,
fact,
it
I was
was.
like way up and I almost dropped my brand new phone the first day I got there over the side. I dropped like 15 floors.
The photographs that you all did were amazing. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were like magazine worthy, half of them. So the Hilton, I don't know if is as, picturesque architecturally, but it's still a lot of fun. I've spent a lot of time personally at the Hilton, and it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to go last year, but these two finally got to meet for the first time in person and got to go to WorkbenchCon. So I was kind of left out in the cold.
Oh.
I couldn't go.
This year, it's going to be different. We're all going to be there. It's going to be great. It's going to be so fun. I have a question real quick to throw us off track. Because for our listeners, is it the same spot that we had it, that you guys, the same buildings that you had last year, or is it in a new spot?
So it is not. Last year, thank goodness, like I said, the weather was amazing, because that would have been a totally different experience for us all. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't rely so much on God. Atlanta Marymount, or the convention center, it's one and the same, not the same building. So it's more downtown. It's more centrally located. Both the hotel and the event site, I'm calling it the WBC campus, are more centrally located in downtown.
Very nice. Perfect.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, still has that kind of industrial vibe once you're inside of our area. The breakout rooms are much more private. I know last year our big stage was also where all the sponsors were, and that was kind of loud at times.
Mm-hmm.
So this year the breakouts are going to be in a different building, still on floor 1. But again, it's really easy. It's like you go up an escalator, over a bridge, down an escalator, and you're there. But it'll be private, so there won't be all that sound issue, which will be nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things I'm excited about is just the fact that we can walk from the hotel to the venue. Because I know last year that there was a big aspect with getting the shuttle over there, and then if you missed the shuttle, you either had to drive and hope you found parking or take Uber or something like that.
And parking in Atlanta is just tough, even for those of us that live here. It's just tough.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeremy's going to be our Uber.
Yeah, very good, Jeremy.
I haven't asked the wife yet if I could take her new car to Atlanta, so.
Oh, new car! What kind of car does she have?
We bought her just maybe about 2 months ago of a new Ford Explorer.
Sweet.
So she had a Ford Fusion, and if any little offside here is that Ford's getting rid of their cars in 2020. So Ford will no longer manufacture a car besides their Fusion and their Mustang. Or no, their Focus and their Mustang.
Really?
Yeah. So the Taurus, the Fusion, they're all gone.
Cars.
What about? I thought they were doing the Bronco.
That's not a car. That's SUV. They're doing away with cars.
Oh, sorry.
And so
I was going to say, what?
Everybody's been in there looking for the Fusions, because the Fusion was the size of a Taurus minus about like 4 or 5 cubic feet of cargo space. And so they...
And cute, right? Kind of BMW-esque.
Yeah, we loved it. But they called and wanted us to bring it in and trade it in. And we just kind of, not really. We don't want to have to mess with that. And then they just kept calling. And so we took them up there, and they paid off what we owed on it and gave us more and gave us a really good deal on the Explorer. So we're like, hey, fine, we'll do it. We'll get a car with 3 rows of seating, which helps because, we don't live anywhere near family. And when they come in town, we don't like to necessarily take 2 vehicles, especially around Charleston. So the traffic around Charleston, getting 2 vehicles around is a pain. So, but yeah, I'll be able to haul Sam and her mom and hopefully Gramps.
Yes, my mom comes. So Little background. My mom comes with us to Workbench, so I'm so excited because she's part of my business. So we're 3 generations that work together. My mom, me, and my grandpa, which is my mom's dad. So
I love it. I love it.
Great. It will be fun.
So special. Love family.
So, what
perfect.
If you can just give us a quick breakdown of what work compared to last year's WorkbenchCon gonna be kind of laid out the same as far as to one session I think, or 2 sessions, and then lunch, and then another session, and then wasn't there on Friday I believe there was a meet and greet in the evening time?
Yeah. So what I have learned with my experience with conferences is this just works for I guess maybe me or the show flow, but basically it'll be almost the same. We're going to do Thursday welcome party right around registration in the later afternoon, breakfast and kickoff on Friday morning, and then a session, and then lunch. And we'll have breakfast. This might be a question, I'm not sure, but we'll do breakfast and lunch both days. And then so breakfast, session, lunch, 2 sessions, and then Friday happy hour. And this time happy hour is going to be more centrally located with the brands. Some people didn't feel like they had enough time with the brands. So this is going to be a really cool kind of, instead of, hey, I'm, Rockin' H Woodshop and here's my media kit and bye, peace out, I got to go. It's going to be more of a cocktail environment where you can organically start to build that relationship, and then hit them up maybe on Saturday with your business materials. So I'm excited to do that. That's a little bit of a different aspect to that. And then Friday night, you'll be free to go to dinner and go around town, and then come back on Saturday for breakfast, session, lunch, 2 more sessions, and then we're going to close with Anna White and Jen Woodhouse.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I have a question. Is the coffee going to be stellar? And will it be half price drinks on happy hour?
So your drinks are free. Well, courtesy of Workbench or a sponsor, which we'll let you know more on that part. But drinks are all on us.
That's better than half price.
Exactly. Yep. So yeah.
Last year we had the maker mules.
Mm-hmm. I know last year we had a signature cocktail. I don't know if we had a full bar or if it was just you could do the signature cocktail or beer and wine. You guys might remember more. But this year will be full bar. I'll probably do have a signature cocktail just because I like that kind of thing. But it will be full bar.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the signature cocktail.
Yeah. Especially the maker mule, just that hit it off last year. Everybody was talking about that,
Yeah.
So
that's so cool. So a little bit of background. I actually have a question for you. A little background about you. So I know you're the co-founder of Haven and Workbench, but before that, did you do anything in interior design or party, event planning, any of that?
So that's my background. As a little girl, I would go, and read House Beautiful and Architectural Digest and all that good stuff instead of the teeny bopper magazine. And that doesn't mean I didn't have River Phoenix up on my wall now, but long story short, went to school for architecture, Ohio State, and loved every second of studio, but I didn't enjoy the intense engineering part of it. I just liked the dreamer part. And so that led me into interior design, and then was an interior designer for probably 5 or 6 years. I had a shop for a couple years, found out that I was not the best businesswoman. And so more and more of my clients started hiring me to do special events, like their anniversaries, their children's weddings, what have you. And then was hired to do a corporate event and absolutely worked around the clock in my garage, just putting all these details, holiday decor together. That's when I knew I found what I love, and my passion was event design. And then life happens, and I started working for a friend who I was more on the logistical side of everything. And I found that I just love events. So I love doing the numbers and figuring all out the challenges as, events, just constant challenge after challenge, and really pulled out my resourceful thinking, which I loved. And so that's my history. And then, Haven started about 8 years ago, started talking about it, maybe 9 years ago at this point. And then the first one was 8 years ago.
That's awesome. That's really cool that you figured that all out. I went to school for interior design as well. And it's funny because there's some parts that like you love. Like you said, you didn't like for architecture, you didn't like the true engineering. You liked the dreaming and like creating and bringing it all together. It's like such a great feeling when you finish something and you're like, oh, I just did that. Like it looks so good.
It's all right. Then that self-pride that comes out of doing it, it's unimaginable. I wish everybody could feel that feeling.
Mm-hmm. And you put on, Haven, I've never been. I want to go so bad, but the pictures and everything just looks so good. And Workbench last year, everything, it was like every little touch was thought of. So,
well, I appreciate that because that was a shoestring.
So, what led you to want to do the Haven event?
Well, the Haven is an amazing story. My neighbor across the street, I had just come off of a conference out in San Diego, and my neighbor just came off of a trip that he met my partner, Rhoten, which things changed now. So I'm the sole owner of Haven, but it's a huge part that Rhoten played in all of that beginning. So my neighbor actually said, hey, I met this woman. She wants to start a DIY conference and you'd be great at it. So if you want to call her, here's her number. And I gave her yours. So we talked, but like 5 days later, it was, it took all my courage to call this woman that I didn't know and say, hey, my neighbor gave me your number. So we just ended up talking. It was wonderful. Very like-minded. As you guys know, when you get like-minded people together and that synergy, just things start happening and popping. And next thing you know, literally 5 hours later, we practically planned a conference. And everything just kind of fell into place. We walked into Home Depot together with this idea, and no one was doing it at the time. And Home Depot had so much faith in you guys as a community and us as people, and the idea that they're like, yeah, it was wonderful. And so that started Haven. We knew we wanted to just focus on the niche, which is great about Workbench too. If you just focus on the niche, then you get all these like-minded people together. And I think that's really important secret sauce to the success.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, Sam.
So with Haven, are you now pooling, like leaving some woodworking in Haven and doing more like interior design and DIY and moving the woodworking aspect to Workbench?
Yeah. And the more maker like that, I think the tool companies will still be there, and the finer tool like the Dremel and Ryobi and that tool section will always be at Haven, because even welding might be, we've played around with like metal crafting. I don't think Haven will never be as intense maker conference.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it very much focuses more on the design aspect. And we as designers, we come up with a concept of a piece of furniture or a textile or an upholstery piece, and we can never find it retail, so we make it ourselves. And focusing more on that than where Workbench is much more on the large. I don't really see too many Haven mavens making a dining room table or making a dresser. They are there, but it's not the majority. So yeah, I think Workbench concentrates more on the furniture maker, the woodworker, the metal craftsman, more of that
industry.
Intent. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect.
What drove or made you want to move Haven out of Atlanta last year into Charleston? I'm assuming it's been in Atlanta since it was a concept, correct?
Yes. So Atlanta was the choice because that's Rhoda and I live here. And so it made sense for that reason. And then I was ready to move, all over, wanted to do different things. Logistically, we had a big team. And so, the idea is Atlanta was the spot. One, it's really easy to get here for sponsors and for attendees, space and all that good stuff. So we thought it would be really good for us to just go on a road trip together, and we always said coming to Haven and is like coming home. When you go away to college or you go away and then coming home and seeing everybody for the first time in a year, it always felt like that. So we thought it would be really fun to go on a road trip together. And it worked. It was great. But everybody said how they missed Atlanta, which shocked us, actually. That was not feedback that I was anticipating at all. But yeah, it was more just so to get out of that usual schedule.
Yeah. And I imagine that there may have been some feedback of how difficult it is to travel to Charleston. Charleston's beautiful. I love it here. Sam comes down here a couple times a year, but it just for people to fly into the Charleston airport because it's so tiny, it's astronomical. It's expensive, and
that was the hotel. The hotel was pushing. I feel like there's a threshold for our attendees to pay, and I really try to protect that. And yeah, Charleston, definitely. I had to do a lot of wheeling and dealing to get us down to that price point, which was pushing, I felt like, out of our threshold that I feel good with our niche, our community. But yeah, that was a big thing too. We looked at Nashville, Charleston, and Austin, all, to your point, smaller.
Oh yeah.
Which makes a huge difference. So I've kind of been thinking about doing smaller conferences that are just smaller, more retreats, because a lot of the attendees had so much fun getting together and noodling around Charleston, but then also wanted the educational aspect of it. So that's something I'm starting to research.
Oh, that would be a great idea. Just to get it's so great getting people together that have like the same, drive, and everyone likes the same thing, because then you come up with amazing ideas and everybody helps everybody, which is amazing in the community.
Exactly. Because there for a second in the early days of Haven, there was this movement that people were kind of scared to share. And I think it totally locks people down when you go that route. Because if everybody's just open, it's amazing how things just open and continuing open that you never knew was there unless you should.
Exactly.
Yeah. So has the 2019 Haven location been picked? Is it going to be back in Atlanta?
We're back home.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was gonna say because I live in DC, right outside of DC in Northern Virginia. Flying to Charleston is only $200 round trip, but the hotel was a lot more than any. But flying to like Austin is $700 round trip.
Yeah, I would love to go to Boston. But yeah, exactly.
So I like with you said Austin and Tennessee and Charleston. I know Charleston, like from different areas, is expensive, and then from here to Austin is $700 round trip, even if you book way in advance. So it's crazy.
And you're flying into Austin, correct?
Yeah, I fly straight into Austin.
Austin is not one of the major hubs of Texas, and that's one of the reasons. So I'm originally from Texas, right? Everybody either flies Houston or Dallas, and or El Paso, and that's one of the reasons. So for me to fly back home to Texas, for one person, sits somewhere between $800 and $900.
It's crazy.
And yeah, and so needless to say, we only go home about. This last year I went home about 5 times, and I drove every single time, but.
It's probably cheaper too.
Well, it is. I mean, especially for a family of 4. So,
right.
But I think that's a key, especially for something when you're trying to drag in, 400 plus people is get next to a major airport that just about every airline flies to.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It is key. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. Like, and all of a sudden, I think our economy, which is wonderful for all of us, our economy is booming, and so all the hotel rates, all the airlines airfares are going up. It's just crazy.
It is crazy. It's crazy. I had to say something about that because I was like, "What? Why is it only like $200 for me to fly to Charleston round trip? $200, and then why is it $700 to go to Austin?"
And a lot. Well, but what I just said about the economy might not ring true now, but it used to be like Charleston, the Convention and Visitors Bureau or the tourist agent, whoever mandates that, might give the airlines kickbacks because they want you there. So it's kind of a reciprocal trade. So Austin might not need people, so they don't do any kind of kickback thing. I've heard. I don't know that that's a fact, so I don't want hate mail on that. But I mean,
but that's probably totally. I mean, there's so many people in Austin right now. They really probably don't need anyone.
Well, and Austin is in itself is a huge tourist attraction, especially when you get South by Southwest every year. Goes there, and that brings in thousands of people.
Right.
So,
such a fun conference.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I have a question because like I said, I've never been to WorkbenchCon, so I don't know if it's going to evolve to this or not. But actually, it's been about, I think it's been about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I went to our first show in Woodworking in America in Kansas City with the video woodworkers of YouTube. And there was a booth that we had that people would just fly in from all over the U.S., some outside of the U.S., just to come meet and greet, get autographs, and buy merch. I know, it was very surreal. So I didn't know if things like that would kind of evolve with WorkbenchCon or not, because I know you guys mainly deal with the vendors having booths at WorkbenchCon, and then you just have attendees to come see the talks and talk to the vendors and maybe just buy stuff like that from them.
Yeah.
Is that a possibility?
You saw it last year, right? You went to the Atlanta Woodworking Show.
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Which we missed each other. I was over in the IsoTunes booth when you showed up with Eric.
Yeah,
but so something like that, right? So how Southern Woodworkers puts on a giant booth just to host people.
Right. So WorkbenchCon will not do that. We're going to stay completely focused on the content, the maker, content creator. Now, that's not saying that the maker or the woodworker that doesn't necessarily put out content would not find WorkbenchCon amazing and worth the value. One, as you said, the fandom of it all. But there's going to be a lot of sessions and hands-on, like we've got Glenn Scott doing concrete, and he's going to be, you kind of go around and do your thing with concrete, but then you have this amazing, talented person to be able to bounce different concrete ideas off of, and he's right there, and there's going to be a lot of different materials. So anybody that works with their hands and is interested in coming to Workbench, period, would love that type of class. There's going to be those kind of classes with woodworking, turning, all that good stuff. So even if they didn't want to go to the business side of the classes, they'd find huge value in just hanging out with fellow makers, getting to know the brands, and then going to the hands-on DIY sessions, because there'll be at least 2 during every session slot time period.
Oh, that's really
okay.
Yeah, we won't be like the woodworking show like that at all. It won't be thousands of people. It's going to be very dedicated and intentional.
Gotcha.
So with like the sponsors and the companies that will be there, will there be more than last year?
Yeah, so this year we have a few more. Most of the sponsors, if not all, have signed at this point to return. And then we've got a few more sponsors that are additional this year as well. And that we are constantly adding to that sponsor list as well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So-
Tell us who will be there.
I would say as a whole, WorkbenchCon, the after hours is much like what Drew experienced there in Kansas City or what happened in Atlanta. That's all those after hours hangouts, everybody. And there was several people. There was a bunch of people that actually came and hung out at the hotels and stuff with everybody that didn't actually attend the events. I know there was a bunch of people that did that. And a lot of them lived somewhere in Georgia. It was easier of a drive. But that's not to say that somebody wouldn't fly in just for the after hours hangouts and just hanging out in the bar, having drinks with people or what have not. So
Yeah, like the meetups,
Mhm.
the meetups at the hotel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as far as the ticket sales, how many tickets are for sale? Like grand total, what do you normally have as a ticket amount?
Well, last year we are super stoked because last year we had a total of 288, and I haven't checked since I've been home, but we sold 183, and so we are super excited about that already. So yeah.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
And the maximum you can that you're allowing is 450.
Yes. And there's some of those set aside. So not all those will be on sale for the early bird, because there's certain amount that are set aside for the marketing tickets. So we got to keep room for those too.
Yeah. Is that
Okay.
comparable to Haven? Is Haven roughly about the same maximum
actually
number of guests?
A little bit smaller. This year Workbench will be larger than Haven.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Haven we sell out at 350, so we're selling out at about 100 more.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and this venue can handle that as well. Haven's venue is more intimate. We pretty much take over. It's a large hotel, but we take it over, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hopefully
The
we'll
reason
get
that-
to- Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I was going to say, just hopefully next year all three of us will get to experience the Haven side of the house and how that compares.
Yeah, yes, love to have you guys.
I really want to, because
Mhm.
my business both dabbles in woodworking and interior design, so I think both
Right.
would be beneficial.
Like our perfect. Yes.
And I think that's pretty synonymous about podcasting, right? Is we just happen to podcast about a little bit about business stuff and woodworking, but podcasting extends from every different part of between interior design or whatever, car manufacturers. Podcasting goes pretty hand in hand with just about any other niche.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
What were you gonna say, Drew?
Well, the reason I was asking about the whole ticket amounts that you guys have, because we did have a question. Their whole question was, has there been talk about increasing the amount of available tickets to be able to lower the overall price to make it more affordable for some of the others that haven't been able to attend because of the price?
Yeah. So I like that question, and I would love to say yes, but no. It is so crazy expensive because of the meals and the entertainment, all of the talent that is there, and the space, everything that goes into it. If it weren't for our amazing sponsors like Home Depot, Craig, Ryobi, Rust-Oleum, and all the other ones, this would not be able to happen. So for that cost, believe it or not, it barely pays for the 4 meals.
So, okay, here's a question then, kind of spurring off that, because the ticket sale, the price that you have, that opens up the door to everything that's WorkbenchCon related. Is that right?
Yes. So that includes everything. I love the event. I shouldn't say I don't like it. I personally don't want to be involved with the logistics of trying to figure out who belongs where. And I don't want to have to tell somebody that they can't go there because their badge is blue and not black. And I just,
Yeah.
So I want, part of our whole brand is to be inclusive and community and share and all that good stuff. And so I feel like that just kind of bleeds into that whole vibe.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that answered my next question, was having a different price ticket for just maybe the vendors area and not the talks and things like that.
We've thought about it, and that is something to go back to that original question. We've definitely talked about it. It's been an idea. I don't know that it will happen. I struggle with that whole, black and blue badge thing. But beyond that, would it take away? Because the whole purpose of the sponsors, the reason that the sponsors are there is to meet people like you guys. They're not necessarily there to sell their brand. They're there to meet you. And if I allow 500 tickets for people to come in, then those 500 people are going to take the time from the sponsors from talking to you guys. Mm-hmm. So I struggle with that concept. It's definitely been talked about, and the door's not shut, but I just struggle as far as, do we want that for what we are?
Yeah. I think I see a benefit to both, right? You potentially have a greater profit coming in off these other tickets. But there's conferences that already do that. And of course, unfortunately some of them have kind of stepped back, like woodworking in America. They've have taken a couple of years off, and there's not any talk of them coming back. But I think, for like the other events like Fine Woodworking Live and Weekend with Wood, they're all the same way. They've transitioned into a full package deal. And I think at least at the early bird price, which is $289, that's pretty, you can't really beat that. I mean, if you go to Popular Woodworking 2 years ago to do all the classes and stuff, I think the tickets range somewhere in the $400 range to get 3 days of conferences. And I think, don't quote me on it, I think you could only do 2 classes each day. There was a morning session and afternoon session. I'm not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. But and the same thing with Weekend with Wood and Fine Woodworking Live. There's only a few sessions, but you're kind of included in that whole thing. So to have like a a quote unquote vendors area, I think you would really have to reach out and try to get, at least double, if not triple, the amount of companies coming in to help distribute that. And then to me, that kind of takes away, like you said, takes away that
intimacy.
I'm going there, and this is me personally. Like, I go to represent myself as a brand, and how can I work with these other companies, right? So now when you have 500 other companies, you're not picking out individual companies. You're throwing a business card out to everybody, and so maybe that kind of takes away from it.
Well, and I think it makes you as a maker, content creator, frustrated, because you're going to give your card to 500 people. You're going to smile. You're going to do your elevator pitch over and over. And where it's really going to land you if we have 500 vendors is nowhere, because those vendors may not understand digital marketing. I vet our sponsors to make sure that they want to work with you guys as much as you want to work. And that's with, so to build those relationships. And that's the whole purpose, really. So if there's that many vendors, more than likely they may or may not get social marketing. I'm not going to say they don't get it, but they are going to be overwhelmed and not work with our WBC makers the way that I want your experience to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
That definitely makes sense.
All very good points.
Because some companies are just not there yet, especially if some are maybe old school. They just don't really understand how far it goes.
Phenomenal. So. It blows me away, and I'm in it. It is phenomenal, the reach that you guys have. Phenomenal.
It's like I said, it was surreal whenever all those people just came from everywhere.
That is cool.
I know. It's so neat. It's so neat. I was talking to Ben Ayuda this afternoon, and we were talking just about the atmosphere, and I'm assuming you probably experienced this times 100 at the event that you were at. It's like all these guys getting together on Christmas morning, and the energy is so electric. It's so fun.
It's great. It's so fun.
When we were at Woodwork in America, it wasn't a big show necessarily. It was maybe about 5 aisles that were probably maybe 100 yards long, if that. And we would just walk. We'd go down to the end of the aisle, and we would just walk and just look at each aisle. And whenever we got to our aisle, there was just a swarm of people, just a pack of people around our booth. And then we go to the next aisle, and it was dead.
Right.
Dead. And yeah, our aisle was the busiest one. So
that
it was
says
just
a lot about who you guys are too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the maker community. Even it happened last year in Atlanta, right? We moved around, and it was amazing because like we would all be like gathering in the lobby bar or whatever, and there was like another couple conferences going on. I know one of them was like a fashion design or something on the bottom floor, and we're just like up there like these loud.
What were they?
They were steppers. Steppers. Me and my mom went down there and did some shopping because there was some like fake Louis Vuittons and like all of that down there, and they were so nice. It was great. Everyone's so friendly.
They were so nice. I loved getting in the elevator with them. They were so sad.
Which is just like this complete opposite, because it's like they're all like nice stuff, and we're just like these group of loud, unruly people that are just like, and they're like, what are you talking about?
I know.
So it
great about
fun.
our world. They were just as into us as we were into them.
Yeah. Well, that's always the case, right? You're always interested in the thing that you're not doing. Like, oh, hey, what are y'all doing here? Like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, I know, talking about tickets, Chris, I know that you wanted to offer something as a giveaway to our listeners. You want to announce that?
Yeah. So I'm super excited to let you know that with Woodshop 101 podcast and WorkbenchCon, we've paired up to offer one free ticket this evening. and Jeremy's going to explain how you get done.
Yeah, that's pretty big, because I know there's still a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I want to go. I can't necessarily afford it, and I think taking that price point off can help alleviate that for some people. So I think Drew, Sam, and I sat down and kind of talked about it. We feel like this is such a good, like an honor to get, that we want you to work for it a little bit. So we would like you to go leave us a rating and review anywhere on your podcast catcher. So whether you listen to it on iTunes, you listen to it over on SoundCloud, Google Play, whatever your podcast catcher is you listen to, go leave us a rating and review there. Grab a screenshot of that, and then shoot it over to our email, kickback@woodshop101podcast. That way we know that you've completed it, and we can put you into a little folder to pick from. And we also want you to go over to Instagram and make an Instagram post about it, and tag both the Woodshop 101 podcast and WorkbenchCon in your post, and then tag some friends to share that around and spread it, because we feel like this should get as much traction as possible. Get a lot of people involved to potentially get this ticket to a deserving person that really wants to be there.
Definitely. And it doesn't have to, like, you can email us the screenshot, but on Instagram, you can post whatever you want. A cool picture, make it, whatever. Yeah, but you have to tag us and Workbench.
Yep.
Otherwise, we will never see it.
Never. I'm just kidding. And tag all your friends.
Yeah. Tag some friends in the comments.
Perfect. So good luck to everybody. We hope somebody amazing wins it. Everyone's amazing. But we would like to remind you, if you listen to the show on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating. It helps us reach greater audience. Like Hinds Is says, love the podcast still. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for that feedback.
She got the easy one this time. Drew had to read like 2 or 3 paragraphs last week.
And I screwed up the line too.
You were taking my spot because I always screw up. But now we'll get to read everybody else's reviews when you're trying to win the Workbench ticket. So
when you submit a review, if you throw a question in there, we'll definitely answer those questions on the podcast as well.
Yes. Perfect.
All right. And I did want to give out a big thank you to all of the people that not only participated with the prize packs, but all the entrants for the Woodshop 101 cutting board build-off. That was an amazing amount of boards that were submitted, and we will talk about that more on our next show.
Yep, the winners will be announced next Monday.
Yep. So thank you guys again for all of that. That was an awesome build-off, and we hope to do it again next year.
Can I call in sick on the judging of that? Because I'm not sure
I haven't even looked at the pictures. I don't want to yet, because it's going to be hard. So
yeah, if you want to see them, go. There's a highlight on our Instagram. Go click on that highlight, and you'll see a bunch of the people that have entered, and there's some crazy talent.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It's going to be hard, like it was last year, and I hate being mean to people. Not being mean, but I want to pick everyone.
Yeah, because our views are subjective. not I don't know, it's just whatever we like, but that's why there's 3 of us, right?
Exactly. Perfect.
So so Kristin, we have come to the end of the show. I did want to give you the opportunity for people that want to get in contact with you to maybe ask you some more questions about WorkbenchCon. How can they go about getting in touch with you at all?
The best way to get a hold of me is email. I would say workbenchcon@gmail.com is the easiest way to reach me over Workbench. Or, anything. That's pretty much me. We have a small little team, but the email comes pretty much directly to me.
And even though this was mainly dedicated for WorkbenchCon, what about Haven as well, if they had questions regarding Haven?
Haven, you can go through havenconference.com, And there's a contact, actually for Workbench, same thing, but there's a contact form on havenconference.com contact page. And that is the best way over there because that email pretty much comes possibly through a team member, but straight to me as well.
Perfect.
All right. Very good. So if you guys want to get in contact with Jeremy, Sam, or myself, we do have respected websites, which is countrysideworkshop.com, SamRyanDesigns.com, and rhwoodshop.com. We all have contact information that you can click on to easily get a hold of us, to send us feedback, questions, whatever. But you can also get in touch with the podcast itself for all three of us at the same time using the email that Jeremy mentioned earlier, which is kickback@woodshop101podcast.com. We have a voicemail line that you can call, and if you want to leave us any feedback or ask a question, we will play that on air, and you guys can hear our take on anything that you want to ask. And the voicemail number is 409-234-3959. And if you have a voice memo app on your phone, recording on that and sending it to the email also works. And Jeremy has made mention a few times that we do have a link on our website, woodshop101podcast.com, that you can send that voice memo app through that link that's on the website as well. So there's many, many ways to get in touch with us. And any feedback or kickback or suggestions, comments, whatever, we all love to hear it. So we definitely want to thank Kristin for being on the show with us. We appreciate it greatly, and we look forward to coming to WorkbenchCon and giving our talk and meeting all the other makers that are going to be there.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. It's been so fun and pleasure to talk with you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Yeah. It's going to be an awesome 3 days, especially since it'll be the first time all three of us have met, and we're going to be giving a talk. It's going to be pretty epic.
It'll be historical. How's that?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
All right. So we want to thank everybody that's listening right now, and we definitely want to thank Kristin once again. So from Jeremy, Sam, Kristin, and myself, we want to wish you guys well. Please be safe in your shops, and we will talk to you on the next podcast episode. So 1, 2, 3.
Boom.
Boom.
We realized after recording this episode that the whole giveaway aspect might be a bit confusing, so we're going to simplify it just a little bit. Go leave us a rating and review on any podcast catcher that you listen to us, such as iTunes or Google Play. Take a screenshot of that rating and review and email it to us at kickback@woodshop101podcast.com, and inside that email include your Instagram screen name. Then go over to Instagram and find our Woodshop 101 page. Look for the image for the giveaway and follow the directions. That way we can coordinate the screen name that you emailed us and the Instagram to make sure all the entries are valid. Thank you, and I hope you win.